China heavily subsidized all these products, pushing Chinese companies to produce far more than the rest of the world can absorb, and then dumping the excess products onto the market at unfairly low prices.
What happens when international relations meet the electric vehicle revolution? US President Joe Biden makes a bold move, announcing a 100% tariff on Chinese EV imports. Will this spark a trade war or lead the global markets towards eco-friendly? Let's find out. On May 14, 2024, President Biden revealed plans to impose Section 301 tariffs on approximately $18 billion worth of goods, notably including a 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles, EVs, quadrupling the existing tariff rate. Additionally, tariffs will target crucial EV supply chain components such as permanent magnets, lithium-ion batteries, and critical minerals, which are predominantly sourced from China. These measures coincide with China's expanding global EV market share. Later, on May 28, 2024, the United States Trade Representative, USTR, initiated a request for public feedback on proposed adjustments to the Section 301 tariff actions. This initiative aims to eliminate product-specific exemptions for over 200 items subject to Section 301 tariffs. The USTR is open to receiving comments on this proposal until June 28, 2024. In the latest move, the Biden administration aims to protect US companies and manufacturing jobs from Chinese competition. President Biden at the White House emphasized his support for union workers and his commitment to American-made electric vehicles. The announced tariffs, building on existing Section 301 tariffs targeting China's intellectual property practices, covers various products beyond the EV supply chain, including medical supplies, solar cells, and steel and aluminium products. Alongside this announcement, the US Trade Representative released a 4-year review defending the history of Section 301 tariffs against China, referring to the research indicating their effectiveness in reducing certain Chinese imports and promoting policy changes in China, beneficial to foreign business, including those from the US. Take a look at the announced tariffs for relevant EV product categories, including semiconductors will double from 25% to 50% by 2025. Certain steel and aluminium products will see rates more than triple from 7.5% to 25% in 2024. Electric vehicles from 25% to 100% in 2024. Lithium batteries and critical minerals from 7.5% to 25% in 2024. And tariffs on various other Chinese imports like solar cells from 25% to 50% in 2024. Ship-to-shore cranes from 0% to 25% in 2024. Rubber medical and surgical gloves from 7.5% to 25% in 2026. President Biden emphasized the need for fairness in trade, criticizing Chinese subsidies and overproduction practices that he believes unfairly disadvantage American workers. He highlights the importance of protecting US businesses while addressing climate change concerns. These tariff adjustments are expected to impact $18 billion worth of imports from China, and are part of the Biden administration's continuation of tariffs established under Section 301 during the Trump era. Administration officials repeated the administration's responsibility to addressing climate change while safeguarding US businesses, emphasizing the importance of not allowing cheap Chinese imports to undermine domestic industries. The implementation of new tariffs, significantly increasing China's EV prices, could alleviate some pressures on automakers and the United Auto Workers, UAW, who endorsed President Biden's re-election bid later than in 2020. One concern for the UAW was the impact of the presidential's push towards EVs on workers. However, President Biden assured the union that he wouldn't neglect US auto workers. He also addressed China's dominance in the EV market. President Biden criticized the previous administration's passive approach and emphasized the importance of preserving American jobs. He advocated for companies adopting new technologies to support workers by retooling, rebooting and rehiring in existing factories and communities at comparable wages, prioritizing existing union workers for these opportunities. Administration officials stressed that the tariff announcement was not politically motivated and mentioned the conclusion of US Trade Representative Katherine Tay's review, which identified ongoing unfair business practices by China. Senior administration officials have assured that the tariffs won't lead to increased costs for US consumers. Scott Lincicome from Cato Institute suggests that new tariffs, although largely symbolic, could impact the long-term dynamic of the EV market in the US. He believes that Chinese EVs, known for their competitive prices and quality, could influence pricing and innovation in the American market. However, he warns that this move could potentially result in higher-priced EVs in the US. In addition to concerns about consumer goods and national security, there's a proposal by Democratic Sen. Sherrod Brown to ban imports of Chinese internet-connected vehicles. The Biden administration has yet to take a stand on this proposal, emphasizing that the tariffs are aimed at safeguarding US workers and industries. These tariffs on clean energy products follow President Biden's request to consider tripling tariffs on Chinese steel and aluminium imports, a move strategically announced at the US Steelworks headquarters in Pittsburgh. They also came amid China maintaining an ever larger share of the EV and critical minerals supply chain, and 2023 exports restrictions of key critical minerals for the EV supply chain. USTR noted that of the 265 product exclusions about to expire, it had received comments requesting extensions for only 102 of them, and that USTR also considered domestic suppliers' comments in opposition to further extensions. China condemned the tariff, warning of negative effects on bilateral cooperation, and accused the US of politicizing economy issues. Despite concerns about inflation and potential consumer price hikes, the Biden administration defended the tariffs as targeted measures necessary to address unfair trade practices by China. The decision to maintain and expand tariffs reflects a shift in US trade policy, with both parties increasingly prioritizing domestic industrial protection. While the White House denied domestic political influence, critics argue that the tariffs serve political interests rather than economic efficiencies. The ongoing trade tensions underscore broader disagreements over the trade policy approaches, with both candidates advocating for higher trade barriers and inward-looking strategies. But Washington has been watching warily as sales by Chinese companies in Europe and other countries increase. White House officials said ensuring that green technologies were not dominated by a single country was critical to making the transition successful and sustainable in the long run. While moves targeting electric vehicles are likely to have minimal practical effect, the business world is waiting to see if Europe will take similar steps, said Natasha Epthager of Artemis Investment Management. BYD, the world's largest EV manufacturer, rolled out a new car, the Seagull, which the Associated Press say drives well and is put together with craftsmanship that rivals US-made electric vehicles that cost 3 times as much. It sells for around $12,000 in China, with a shorter-range version that's under $10,000. The European Union and the UK are currently discussing measures to restrict imports of Chinese electric cars, despite potential consequences on adoption rates. Analysts note that it isn't surprising given the political climate, especially with both US president candidates talking through stances on China. With relatively low import volumes to the US, attention is shifting towards developments in Europe. Since 2018, the US and China have been involved in a trade war initiated by President Trump's imposition of tariffs on approximately 2/3 of China's imports, valued at around $360 billion at the time. This led to the retaliatory measures by Beijing, resulting in a standoff. However, tensions eased in early 2020, when Trump reduced some tariffs, which China pledged to increase purchases from the US. Despite China falling short on its promises, the tariffs have generated over $200 billion in revenue for the US government, reshaping global trade dynamics. However, everyday Americans have borne that brunt of these tariffs through higher prices on various goods. Oxford Economics characterised the latest tariff plans as having more symbolic significance than significant impact. They predict a minimal increase in inflation by 0.01 percentage points and a similar slight decrease in the effect on growth, describing the overall impact as a rounding error. Finally, the USTR has introduced new exclusion processes for industrial machinery and certain solar manufacturing equipment until specific dates in 2024 and 2025 respectively. Comment on these protocols were welcome until June 28, 2024, with the docket accessible under docket number USTR 2024-0007. Venables' autonomous and connected mobility group, along with the international trade and logistics team, offer guidance on assessing the potential impacts of the latest US tariffs on your business and investment ventures concerning electric vehicles. Here's a thought to wrap it up. How will these exclusions and tariffs reshape global trade, and what strategies will businesses employ to adapt? Don't forget to comment down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.